Okay, this is finishing up topic 8, block 8 from yesterday. We did not get to finish. We stopped at problem number 10. So we're going to finish that and then go to topic 8, block 9 notes. So I want to start off by looking at number 10. We solved it yesterday and refresh our memory of what we did. And Miss Adams has been telling you to move who out of the house first?
The kids.
The kids. And that's what we did in this problem, is we moved the kids out of the room first. But in later grades, it's going to be helpful if I move the parents together, keep them married, and move them together to the other side. So in our situation, maybe they're tired of these kids. They're going to see if these kids in the other house are any better. So they're going to move over to the other house and abandon their kids. Maybe so. So, just adds to our silly story. So we're going to look at what it looks like to move the parents over first. It will not change the answer, so I'm still going to have x is less than or equal to -3. So I should get the same answer. However, it might be done a little bit different. Is it okay to do math problems differently?
Yeah.
Yes. So on number... Do you see a mouse? I don't see a mouse. On number 11, I'm going to first rewrite the problem. Draw my two houses. We normally would move the 8 first because it is acting as the kid. However, this time they want us to first move the parents by adding. Is adding okay in the opposite operation? Daniel. Is it opposite operation? Yes. So it's okay that I am adding 2x to both sides. That gets rid, the parents moved out and moved to the neighbor's house. They left their kids behind. And I'm left with 8. Have I said divide or multiply by a negative number? No, so I do not flip the sign. I have 14 and a 2x. Are those like terms?
Yes.
14 has an x on it?
No,
they're not like terms.
So are they like terms?
No.
2 has an x on it. So I'm just can write 2x plus 14. How did I know to write a plus sign?
Because there's a plus to it. It
The
says
plus goes with the 2x. How did I know to put a plus there? You're writing.
You add
because the opposite.
because it adds it's the operation you use. So you take
Is this a positive or a negative 14? Does this say positive or a negative 14? It says positive. Plus looks like a positive. That's why I put a plus there. I can't just write 2x and a 14. Does that look like a problem?
No.
You have to have a placeholder to say, hey, I know that is positive. So now I can go about solving this problem. So the first thing I would do here is move who? We already moved the 2 over, so we're not going to move them back to the other house. The 14. We're going to move the kid. They were like, you know what? I'm tired of having kids at all. I'm getting rid of all of them. So they got rid of all their kids, put them over in the other house. Then you had 8 minus 14. What does that give me?
-6.
-6. Did I divide or multiply by a negative?
No.
No. So I don't flip the sign, and I'm left with a 2x. Okay, well, what do I need to do now? That's what we're doing.
Now you
So
have
what
to-
step? Is x by itself?
No.
What do I need to do?
Get 2 away.
I need to get 2 away by dividing, so we're kicking 2 out. I'm left with x. Did I divide by a negative? There's a negative here, but is the number I'm kicking out negative?
No.
So I did not kick out a negative. I divided by a negative, but the negative's over here. The number I kicked out is not negative, so I do not flip it. It stays the same. And that equals
-3.
-3. Does that look like the same answer as number 10?
I mean, yes, but it's
Who is the alligator eating on number 10? -3. Who is the alligator eating on 11? So are they the same answer? Yes, they are. I could rewrite this as the other form, and it would be the same thing. Okay, I want you to go through, flip and circle question 11 or 12, 13, 14, 15, but 15 I want to take a look at because it probably freaks you out a little bit. What part of it is freaking you out?
The whole thing.
The fraction. But it ends up being a really nice problem. So if that's my 2 different houses, look at the right side house. I see 2 sets of somebody. Either 2 sets of parents or 2 sets of kids. What do you see? I didn't even say that option. So
I see 2 sets of 4 halves.
do you see 2 sets of parents or 2 sets of kids was the question?
2 sets of parents.
2 sets of parents. Okay? So do they both have the same last name of an X?
No. Oh, yes.
So that means the parents can combine. Well, do I have common denominators? Yes. So I can combine the numerators by adding, what's 4 plus 4?
8.
8. So that turns to 8 halves. Well, 8 divided by 2 is
4.
So these 2 numbers right there combine to 4x. Then write everything else down, and I've got a super easy problem right now. Just because it has a fraction, 7th grade gives you the easiest fractions to deal with. Then I would solve this. Okay, so I started 15 for you. Let's look at 16 and circle it. I'm going to work 16b with you. Says 1/3 x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 12. So I'm going to draw my line of my 2 houses to work this. Who do you want to move over first? The kids. So who am I moving?
4.
4. How do I move the 4?
You say them to the count. Or
What
you
operation?
change the operation.
So what am I doing?
Plus 4.
Adding 4 to both sides. I'm left with 1/3 x. Did I add or divide? Multiply or divide by a negative?
No.
No. So the sign stays the same. Is 12 and 4 like terms?
No.
Yes, yeah.
Well, there's a plus in front of 4.
So
Yes, because it doesn't have like a it doesn't have a variable.
you wouldn't
It
do
doesn't have an X.
that trips you up there?
It doesn't have an X. They're both positive.
They're the same term, so I can combine them. What's 12 plus 4? 16. Now what's ugly about this? The fraction. But I've taught you a trick to get rid of the fractions. I taught you to multiply the whole problem by the denominator. What is my denominator? 3. So I'm going to do 3 times 1, which is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Do I have to write a 1 in front of x? No, it's understood. 3 times 16 is 48. X need to do anything else there?
No, just.
And that's your answer.
Oh, wow. That's.
So was the fraction problem hard? No. Okay, that ends block 8. Now we're going to take a look at block 9. Let's see, block 9 is on page 265. And block 9 starts off talking about the car rental property we talked about yesterday. Remember renting a car and such? So I'm pretty sure we rented a car and it cost $29.95 just to rent the car, but it had something else added to it. What did it have?
16 cents per mile.
16 cents per mile was added to it. And then my boss chimed in and said that
You only
You
have
can't go over
75.
you can't go over $75. So write that problem at the top of your page because it's necessary to use to answer questions 1 through 4. Okay, so that is what we looked at yesterday. Number 1 says, what charge do you have to pay no matter how many miles you travel? So if I just rent a car and I'm sitting in the parking lot not driving anywhere, how much did I have to pay?
$29.95.
I had to pay $29.95 just to rent the car. That kind of makes sense to me a little bit. If I pretended I was the company, this $29.95 would help me pay for the car. Because do you think they just buy all these cars because they have tons of money? No. The $29.95 probably helps me pay for the car. Then the 16 cents per mile probably helps me pay for the tires. Because don't you have to buy new tires after a certain amount of miles? So the more miles you go, faster, you have to buy new tires quicker. So this 16 cents is helping me pay for the tires every mile that a person goes. So it kind of probably how they came up with the equation. They probably added a few cents so they could cash in some dough, but that's probably how they ended up with that. Hunter, you had something?
And they have to keep up with the gas.
Well,
If you're not moving, doesn't it still take gas?
No, if the car's.
it depends on what
If the
you're
car's
doing.
running, yes.
Yeah. But I'm not sure on this rental company if they buy the gas for you or if you have to buy the gas. They have two different options. What?
Even if the car isn't moving, isn't it that it's still running? So is it still going miles?
It's running. The engine is running, but is the tires being used? No. This is that 16 cents is miles on the tire. Okay, number 2 says, how much money do you have left to pay for mileage after you paid the base charge of $29.95? So how would I know how much money I have left after I paid $29.95?
How much did you start with?
How much did I start with? What did my boss tell me to do? 75. So how do I know how much I have left? You're gonna subtract. So I'm gonna do $75 minus $29.95, and I will. $45.05 is how much I have left to use for my miles. So I already paid for the $29.95. $45.05 is how much money it can be used for miles. Did I calculate wrong?
Just looking at it. I think you did it right. Yes, you did.
Okay. All right. Number 3 says, how many miles can you drive after you pay for the base charge? So I already paid for the base, and I'm left with $45.05 left for 16 cents per mile. They want to know how many miles I can go on that. What do I have to do there?
You have to see how many.
Divide $45.05 divided by what? 16 cents. So notice how I wrote that down and then I got my calculator. So those of you that are required to show work on all your process paper boxes, which is everyone in here, I wrote my work down, still used a calculator, but at least now I showed some work. Yes, I'm writing all of the decimals because that is the exact mileage I can go with how much money? $75. If I go 281.6, is my boss going to be happy?
No.
No. That probably would calculate to being like a penny over $75. But am I still over?
Yes.
So basically, I could get fired over a penny. But if my boss said, I can't go over $75 and I went a penny over, was I in the wrong or was I okay?
You was in the wrong.
I was in the wrong. So he said I can't go over. Just like if Mr. Fontenot came up to me and said, if you come to work late one more time, I'm firing you. And Monday I come up walking in here at 8 o'clock. Tuesday, am I going to be here?
Nope.
No. Okay, there's rules you have to follow. Just like these word problems give you rules you have to follow. So, basically, if I was to round that up to 280, what would that round up as a whole number? 280, what? 282. Can I round that up and I'd be in budget?
No.
No, this is the exact amount. So, there was fine print on the rental stuff. That's what this is, number 4 is saying. Fine print said that even if you go half of a mile, which 0.5625 is about half of a mile. If you go half of a mile over, we're rounding it up to the next whole number. So they would round this up to how much? 282. Can I afford 282 miles? No, you cannot. So number 4 is asking what whole number can I afford to go without getting in trouble?
280.
I can go 280, but there's a closer number than that.
281.
281 miles. $280, I wouldn't have gotten in trouble, but I also wouldn't get in trouble with 281. I would be under budget, but just barely. It would be like $74.95 or 99 cents. It would be really, really close to $75. Okay, so number 5, not gonna skip. I'm gonna cross out when using a graphing calculator because we're not. But it asks, what do X and Y represent in our car scenario problem? Well, X stands for our miles that we drove. And what happens when I turn the car back into the rental company? I have to give them some money for however many miles I go. So I can say this is my total bill. Some people need to refocus back up on me. Moving to number 6. I'm actually going to create that chart. This was titled miles. This is total. And we're going to look at a chart for various number of miles. So I just made up a lot of different numbers in this column. Landon and McKinney. I first just said I'm going to test 100. So I would have to do 100 times what? In my problem, if I plug 100 in, what am I multiplying it by? 16 cents. And I get $16. But I also have to pay how much?
$29.95.
$29.95. So what is my total bill if I drive 100 miles? $45.95. Am I close to 75? Not really.
More than halfway.
So I'm gonna pick 200. See if I can travel 200 miles. So 200 times 16 cents gives me $32 plus $29.95 gives me $61.95. Have I passed up? Can I travel 200 miles?
Yes.
Yes, I can. So then I tested 250. I knew going up to 300 might not work out for me, right? Because I'm getting close to $75. So I tested 250 and I got $69.95. Have I reached my limit yet? No. So I kept going. I'm getting close to my limit though, right? So I can't go up another 50. So I chose 275. And when I calculated that, I got $73.95. I'm getting closer. Okay. I like to live on the edge. So I want to get as close to $75 as possible. So this time I'm going to test 280. See what that gives me. And that got me $74.75. Can I afford that?
Yes.
Yes. So I can afford to go 280 miles, but I'm getting real close. So let's see if I can go 281 miles. When I calculated that, I got $74.91. Can I afford it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now I wanted to see, can I go 282 miles? Think I can? I ended up with $75.07. So if I went 282 miles, am I fired or I keep my job? I'm fired. 280. So I got fired over 7 cents.
Over 7 pennies.
Mhm. But if I went 281, do I get to keep my job?
You lost place.
He's like, man, you cut it close.
You're really stretching that $75.
Yeah, I was. Okay, B says, is it possible to have the number of miles driven to be less than 0? What kind of numbers are less than 0? Negative numbers are less than 0. Can you travel negative distance?
No.
No, it's not possible. So write no, and we're going to write distance can't be negative. And why am I given an explanation?
Let's explain.
Because it says explain. No, distance can't be negative. Okay, I'm cutting it real close on time and I want to finish up this video before, so we're gonna skip number 7 because it's not that important. Number 8, you should know how to graph number 8 by now. Number 9 is really what I want to look at. Number 9 is what I consider to be kind of extreme laziness. We know math people are lazy, right?
Yes.
Okay? It's full of tricks to make life easier. So what they did here is, how many inequality symbols do you see? 2. That means I have 2 inequality problems I can write out of this. If I cover up that 0 and the other inequality sign, doesn't that look normal?
Yeah.
So I'm going to write that one. It can be, M can be less than or equal to 281 is one of them. So I can drive less than or equal to 281 miles, but then covering up this other side, it's kind of backwards. So I'm going to read it backwards. Miles has to be greater than or equal to 0. So, can't my miles have to be bigger than 0? Because they can't be negative? Hey, up here. Can you drive negative distance?
No.
No. So, there would be a closed circle on 0, and the numbers have to be larger than 0, but they have to be less than 281. So if I graph this, my graph would look like that. That is the only answers that make this problem true. Do you see how I got that? This said M had to be bigger than 0 or equal to it, but it had to also be less than or equal to 281. So this was a person kind of being extreme with their laziness, and they pushed the problem all together and didn't write them out 2 different ways. Okay? Cross out problem 11. You don't have to do number 11. But circle number 10. So your homework is going to be checked Tuesday. You will have some working time Monday. So Monday, you will have some time to work on workbook and online stuff and last minute questions before your test Tuesday. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and peace out, home dogs.